Hello and welcome. My name is Xander. I will be your instructor through this tutorial. Now, this tutorial is actually part of a whole course which you can access the first stages for free here on YouTube. Now, in this tutorial, I might mention resources and other tutorials. Do check out the link in the video description, which will take you to the playlist, and also there will be a link to the resources so that you can access and follow along here on YouTube. Now, if you like this course, you found it useful, and you want to take that next step, you can find this course over at Udemy. All the links to the resources can be found in the video description. Now, don't forget, also subscribe to the channel for weekly promotions, discounts, and free course giveaways. Although it is possible, as we have seen in the previous tutorial, to load data from a JSON file, it is probably a little bit more straightforward with CSV Data. So in this tutorial, I'm going to take you through the process or show you how to bulk load data from a CSV file into your Postgres database. I will make the assumption that you probably have watched the previous tutorial on loading data from a JSON file, but if you haven't, you will find in the source code a folder with all the data. Here we have CSV and JSON data. So we're going to focus in on loading the CSV file. So first of all, let's just take a look at CSV. CSV, or comma separated values, is a file format used to store tabular data. Here you can see we have the data for the category table. It follows the same principles like we saw in the previous tutorial with JSON, in that we need to make sure that this data matches the structure of our table. So here we're just going to focus in on the category table, but this should apply to all the tables. So we need to make sure that what we insert, or the data that we have in our CSV file, if we are starting from a CSV file and that data didn't originate from our database or table, then we need to make sure that that data matches the field expectations of our category table. And of course, then we need to ensure that our data also meets the expectations. If we do have any constraints or any other requirements, we need to make sure that we fulfill those to insert the data. But you can see the data here. At the top, we have reference to the fields that match our category table in this case. And then we have the data. So we have ID parent, name slug is active in level. So here we have the ID, we have the name, the slug is active, and level. Like the JSON format, CSV files are widely used for data exchange because they are simple. They are lightweight. They don't have, maybe like JSON, you don't have to encapsulate elements in objects, adding to the characters that are included. We can see that each line represents a record. Each data point is then separated by comma. You can see that we have empty here, so we're not entering anything into this foreign key. So these are null fields. Now, again, I apologize. I am assuming that you have watched the other tutorials, maybe in this module, but if you haven't, then do make sure you first go ahead and recreate all the tables if you haven't in your database. If you have data in the category table, just make sure you go ahead and delete from category. Just make sure you delete everything. So we have a fresh new category table, and then we can now start to think about inserting the CSV data. Now, in comparison to inserting JSON, this is a whole lot easier. Right, so here we have the copy command, and that is what's going to be used to specify the data that should be inserted this time in the category table. So it's simply a case of using copy, and then whatever the table is, users or a product or whatever. In this case, it's going to be category. So that's what we're going to insert into from our CSV file. And then what we can do is specify the fields. So you need to just check out the ERD or the complete database there. Make sure you have all the fields. So ID, parent ID, name, slug is active and level for the category. And then we simply need to specify from where we're going to get the data from. In this case, it's going to be from /data. Remember, that is where we are mirroring across this folder to the container. So in our container, the folder called data, and then we're looking for a file called, it's called category.csv. So category.csv. So that's our data. And now we simply need to tell Postgres about our data, or a little bit about our data. So we need to tell it about the delimiter. So if you look at the CSV file, you can see that data is separated by a comma. So we simply just tell Postgres that columns in our CSV file are separated by commas. So we specify that. And then we need to tell it that we do have a CSV header. Okay, so this is our header here of our CSV file. So this indicates that the first row is what we're going to tell Postgres that the first row in our CSV file contains column names or headers. PostgreSQL should skip it when inserting data. Right, so let's also CSV header. Okay, and there we go. So let's give this a go. It looks like we've got an error because I've accidentally spelled CSV wrong. Let's give that a go, and there we have it. So we've copied now 11 records into the category table. So I've gone ahead and created the code for all of the tables. So I'm just going to try and load this in. I can't remember if I have any data in any other tables, so it might not work, but I have tested it beforehand. So it looks like everything was good. So it looks like we've now copied data into all tables. So it's nice and quick, nice and simple. There's quite a lot of code there for performing that, but we should now have data for all tables. So in actual fact, we have a very crude way now of setting up our database tables, because we need to start the container. Once the container is started with our Postgres service, all we need to do is run this code here to create all the tables, and then all we need to do is just copy from this point and load in all the data. And that's a very crude way of now setting up the tables and data in our database. For those who want to see it, I will just quickly show you the whole process. Let's start by deleting the containers. So we'll start fresh. I'll just take you through the process once. Right, so that is now deleted. So look, first of all, we need to start the containers. Now remember, we are using the Docker Compose with data. So we're going to need to run Docker Compose with the F flag, and then Docker Compose with database, and then we use the up and the D flag. So that's going to bring up our containers. Once our containers are up, we can head over to this file. We need to log in to the container, access PostgreSQL. We need to then connect to the database. That's the important task. Once we have that done, we can go ahead and copy this in, create all of our tables. So we should at that point have all of our tables. And now we can use the CSV code from line 14. Just going to copy that in. And now we have data. So we should have data in every single table. Let's just test one data. So one table, sorry, select all from users. We've not seen that before, I don't think. Forget the semicolon. There we go. So we have data in the user table, and that should be the case for all of the tables now. We have now seen an example of loading in data from JSON and CSV. In this simple example, it was a fairly straightforward, smooth process, but that's never the case in real life, shall we say. So when loading data into your database, there are many considerations to ensure a smooth and efficient import process. I would say that there's 4 main categories or areas to consider: data integrity, performance, error handling, and security. So first of all, ensure that your columns, orders, and data types in your CSV or JSON matches those in your PostgreSQL table. That's obviously going to be a vital step before you start inserting, and save you a lot of time in the long run. First of all, checking to make sure that the data format matches, and check for missing or extra columns. incorrect data types and null values that may cause errors. So use copy for bulk imports. So here copy is significantly faster than multiple insert statements because it loads data in bulk rather than executing individual transactions. So it's definitely best for importing large data sets efficiently. Now, where you have a very large amount of data, you might start thinking about disabling indexes and constraints to speed up large imports. Indexes and constraints like foreign keys slow down imports because PostgreSQL has to check each row. So you can temporarily disable them before loading and re-enabling them afterwards to improve performance. Now, something we haven't mentioned yet, logging and implementing error handling. This may be done at the application level. You want to make sure that if copy fails or if the process fails of inserting data into any row, that you have a log so that you can appropriately deal with that error and maybe reinsert that data. Strategies here include loading your data into a staging table and then cleaning it and then moving that valid data to the final table. I did very briefly touch on how to do that, move data from one table to the next in a previous tutorial. Now, because of the vast amount of wonderful languages we have in this world, you may have to work with special characters. So if you are dealing with accented characters or non-English text, specify UTF-8 to avoid any encoding issues. And you can do that in the copy command. At the end, you would specify UTF-8. So this is going to help prevent corruption or unreadable characters in the database. I've added that at the end of the load data file. You can see an example here where we have specified the encoding at the end of our copy command. So that concludes loading CSV data into our Postgres database.